Greetings, comrades. I'm so delighted to be joining you today, although I had to record earlier, and I'm grateful for the flexibility that has allowed me to give the keynote address for the 2024 Green Party Presidential Nominating Convention. I want to begin by saying that the Green Party is a necessity. Yes, a legitimate electoral choice, but more than that, an absolute necessity if we are to live humanely and actually if we are to survive at all. We are excluded from debates. They fight to keep us off of ballots and to steal the campaign funds we have earned according to the rules of the political duopoly. But we challenge interest groups that don't want us to live humanely and who don't care if life on Earth perishes because of fossil fuel production. That's why the Green Party is a target and why we cannot back down. This is a very strange and difficult time for the people of this country. Presidential election years always have that quality of unreality because there is so much effort made to propagandize the public, to indoctrinate us all. This year is especially odd because the bogeyman is back, and of course I mean Donald Trump. He was the unexpected president, the man who won an electoral college victory because of the hubris, incompetence, and allegiance to the neoliberal agenda of the Democrats in general and Hillary Clinton in particular. Bernie Sanders' unexpected success was an indication that at the very least, an old-fashioned get out the vote campaign was needed. But she preferred to assume she had Obama's manufactured appeal when she didn't, and the very undemocratic rigging of the Democrats' nomination process led to her defeat. It's ironic to see every Democratic Party appeal to voters made as an urgent call to preserve democracy. That's funny, not ha-ha funny, but ironic. As most of you know, the Democrats do their usual war against democracy in order to keep Greens off the ballot. So committed were they to subverting Greens' democratic rights in North Carolina in 2022 that they actually called anyone who had signed nominating petitions for the Green Party in the state and asked them to recant and undo their choice. They also went to people's homes to intimidate them. And of course, they attempted a legal effort to get the Green Party off the ballot when we had met every requirement. Keep this in mind when democracy is used as a cynical marketing tool. I know I'm preaching to the choir, as it were, but it bears repeating. There is much more agreement between the two parties than there are differences. And even when there are differences, the two manage to find ways to come to mutual, although sometimes tacit agreements on issues on which they allegedly differ. One such example is abortion. Republicans said they wanted to make the procedure illegal, and Democrats said they would protect reproductive rights. But a strange thing happened in 2008. During his campaign, Barack Obama, always hopeful and audacious, said that he would codify the Roe v. Wade Supreme Court decision and take it out of the hands of the judiciary. But just 90 days into his term, he announced that it was not, as he put it, his highest priority. In 2017, Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi declared that there was too much talk about abortion because it was, as she put it, fading as an issue. But 2 years ago, the Supreme Court overturned Roe in the Dobbs decision, and the same people who spoke out of both sides of their mouths are now saying that abortion is the winning issue with women voters. But we've seen this movie, and we know how it ends, with abortion or some other issue being used to get votes and raise money, but then somehow being left off of the agenda. Despite all rhetoric to the contrary, Republicans and Democrats agree on fossil fuel production, and the results are calamitous. Warmer temperatures mean warmer oceans, which means stronger and more frequent hurricanes. Houston, Texas was struck by Hurricane Beryl and lost power during a sweltering heat wave. heat wave. Heat domes are more frequent, with even Death Valley and Las Vegas reaching record-breaking temperatures. UN climate accords, Kyoto or Copenhagen or Paris or Glasgow or Sharm el-Sheikh or UAE are shunned by Republicans and praised by Democrats. But Biden, like his predecessor and boss Barack Obama, allowed drilling in the Arctic, just like Trump did. And Democrats and Republicans alike allow oil drilling on federal lands. But what difference does it make when climate agreements actually allow the temperatures to rise, but only, we're told, 1.5 degrees C? Well, that benchmark has been missed repeatedly, and every month world temperatures break records. Carbon capture is a corporate pipe dream, and fossil fuel production continues unabated, regardless of who is in office. We are cast as spoilers and blamed for the deceptions of the colluders. Yes. Is there a peace party in this country? Yes. And we're it. I was in China in April and from afar saw the corruption, which culminated in the $91 billion package of so-called aid to continue the Ukraine proxy war, to start another proxy war in Taiwan, and continue Israel's genocides and war crimes. It is Palestine, which has created a new movement in this country, and people who may have voted for Biden before now pledge to abandon him because the US is the main accessory to Israel's crimes. Before I go on here, I want to point out how genocide is defined. The 1948 UN Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide defines it as having the intent to do harm to a group of people. I think it's important to know that we aren't throwing around a serious word without good reason. Quote, in the present convention, genocide means any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group as such, killing members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group, forcibly transferring children of the group to another group, unquote. I point this out in order to demystify the meaning of genocide. It's clearly being committed in Gaza by the Israeli government, which could not do anything without help from the US. This policy is also bipartisan, with just a few congressional members daring to speak up, or speaking up or still voting for more weapons, or not voting for money but endorsing Joe Biden, who is an accessory to the crime. Of course, this means that there are other genocides happening, from our prison system and mass incarceration to the forever wars and the economic sanctions which are meant to create suffering in Cuba or Iran or Eritrea or other nations because they dare to free themselves from imperialist dictates. If people can't access medical care because of these unilateral coercive measures, they are victims of genocides too. We see how protest against genocide became a target of the state and of their wealthy patrons. Young people were attacked by thugs, suspended from school, arrested, or not allowed to graduate. Their professors lost jobs and were targeted for attack. This is most undemocratic behavior, and while the duopoly have varying levels of responsibility, the Green Party stands apart. If you were to ask millions of people if they want what is in our party platform, they would say yes. Yes to the 4 pillars of peace, ecology, social justice, and democracy. Yes to public money for the people's needs. Yes to ending the climate crisis. Yes to ending the military-industrial complex gravy train, and saying no to genocide and to proxy wars and to the austerity they bring to the entire country. The sad, hard truth is that the ruling class and their errand boys and girls in the Democratic and Republican parties want to silence the people consigned to immiseration by their acts. A party that wants true democracy, that wants proportional representation and voting integrity, is acting against their interests. That is why we are vilified and demeaned as spoilers. Here in New York State, where I live, the Democratic Party stole the green ballot line. Our then Governor Andrew Cuomo changed a budget bill which significantly raised the threshold of signatures needed for a party to have a ballot line. They know what people want and what we are talking about, and that it threatens corporate interests and their politicians who work to advance them. Local actions and global impacts. We strive to get on the ballot in New York, and many of you are doing that around the country. The people have no voice in the duopoly, where both wings stoke wars and, for example, escalate tensions with other nuclear powers, Russia and China. Negotiation is considered passe, and so are the nuclear treaties which the US has unilaterally withdrawn from, which creates a literal threat to life on this planet. This country needs the Green Party. Don't be shy about saying so when your friends and loved ones claim that your vote lost abortion rights or a different Supreme Court. It is sad that people are actually making an argument against the idea of democratic governance when they say that the Green Party should disappear and stop running for office. The Green Party actually has a chance at victory in the Electoral College. That they protect so much. We aren't spoilers, they are the spoilers, and they should stand down and apologize about the state of the nation which they have worsened. How can you consign the unhoused to arrest and not support housing as a right? How do you target them and blame them while at the same time giving billions of dollars to the military-industrial complex or unwinding Medicaid and taking health benefits? If Greens were in power, these things would not be happening. We are not the spoiler. It is hyperbole to say that it is not hyperbole to say that our platform can be the savior and bring some security and safety to the people. Lastly, I want to speak to you as a Black person. We are often used as a cudgel, cynically, of course, to make the case for supporting austerity in war. If you're white, you will be told that being green is an elite privilege and that marginalized people need the Democrats and can't afford to have them lose. Well, that's a lie. Who was the deporter in chief? Obama. Whose welfare reform impoverished millions of people? Clinton. Whose crime bill put thousands of people, Black people, in jail? Biden and Clinton. Who's sending billions of dollars to Raytheon and McDonnell Douglas and the rest of the defense contractors? Republicans and Democrats. Working people, Black people, Latino people, every marginalized person cannot afford to go along with the status quo. We need to be organized and we need to mobilize. Those are the only things that improve life in this country, and that's for you and for me. Thank you, and power to the people, and go green. Thanks so much.